In this episode, I'm going to share with you how we have completely transformed an online coffee company in the first 6 months of them working with us. It's unbelievable. It's going to be the most incredible case study in a few months from now, but you're going to get a behind the scenes in this very video of exactly how we're doing it, because I promise you, it's actually really simple and you're going to be amazed. Let's get into it. So look, this one is just incredible and I had to share it with you because we're only a few months into working with this fantastic brand, really well established, and the team are having a lot of fun. And we just did our quarterly sort of review, and they report in their numbers to me every quarter. And, I was blown away, to be honest. 6 months in, we often say, that it takes the first 6-9 months to sort of build a bit of traction and sort of really get going, and you're kind of building out the plan and you're sort of doing this, that, and the other. And yet we've been able to hit the ground so fast with this one, partly because the client have been so receptive and they've been so quick off the mark. And whilst I can't give the specifics of exactly who the client is and the exact numbers, kudos to them, because they have been an absolute pleasure to work with and we've had a lot of fun and we're making some incredible progress. So their traffic, then this is their organic traffic, how people are finding their brand year on year. Well, it's basically since working with us in the first 6 months, the traffic's gone up 118%. 118% increase, and we're talking some chunky numbers before they even came. So it's not as if we're going from zero to, these are 180%. That is, we're talking tens of thousands of, hundreds of thousands, to be quite honest, of users. They get circa 500,000 visits a year anyway. So we're talking some pretty chunky numbers, up 118%. Absolutely mind blown. Add to that, more importantly than traffic, revenue since working with us, up 41%, up 41%. That represents hundreds of thousands of pounds of additional revenue that this client has made in the first 6 months. And to say they're blown away would be an understatement. They are absolutely, they're thrilled. It's fantastic. We've had some really, really positive, lovely feedback from their team. They've been sending us free coffee. It's been really nice. It's been really good fun. Now, when the team report back, because they give me sort of a headline on all the numbers, and one of the things they've done is we've secured P1, we would call it, so position 1 in the search results rankings for some of the most lucrative terms. Now, we're not trying to optimize for things like coffee, because, why would we? But for what they do and this, that, and the other, we've been very clever in terms of how we've approached it. And we've already now got them into the number 1 position consistently. Amazing. And that we're seeing that across Hrefs and SEM. We're seeing that, across their own visibility. We're seeing that within GSC as well. So Google Search Console, just been amazing. And we've also, because we don't really, we track some keywords, but as I've done in other videos explained it, we more kind of, the way we track keywords, we do them as topic clusters. So we focused on, we won't just choose 1 or 2 keywords. We'll say, well, what is the topic of those keywords? We'll cluster them together, and then we'll look at those as an average, because keywords do jostle. Day to day they will change. Whereas what we do is look at an average of a group of keywords that are all around the same topic. Look at the average for that. What is our impressions? What are our clicks? What are our average position, etc., etc., etc. So that's what we've been doing. And I say this is a website that's that's getting a lot, hundreds of thousands of users to its website. So it's been amazing. Now, what you're probably wondering, that's like, Aaron, that sounds great. You've built it up enough now. How have you done it? What have you been doing? Well, that's what I'm going to say, because what's brilliant about this, and what I just absolutely love about it, is I don't think we've done anything that's that revolutionary. We haven't come up with a whole new way of doing SEO or any of this good stuff. But what we have done can be summed up in one word, which is context, right? Context. So what do I mean by that? Let me give some context to the word context. So what I mean is, basically what the team observed from the very first auditing was that essentially Google was confused, right? Google was just confused with how the website was structured and basically how it was optimized. And that goes back to how the website was originally, how it was built, and it's been through a couple of iterations of different developers. And I think often with brands, when or until they start working with an agency, is it can get a little bit confused, that it can get a little bit lost in translation. And that had absolutely happened with this brand. Amazing brand, great product, website really complicated to use, overly complicated to use, wasn't straightforward on where everything is. So and Google was just lacking that context to where everything was and why you would buy it. And it's not that it's coffee, it's not that complicated, but it was lacking. Google was just basically confused, and it was so evident that Google just was not clear in terms of how things were structured, how the website had been optimized. It wasn't as clean and as simplified as it needed to be, to just go for Google, okay, this is what it is. This is where all the products are. This is how we. So One of the things we did at the very outset is we just stripped it back. We simplified the user experience, the navigation, the structure, the URLs. We just simplified everything. There was also another thing that we did, which again, really, these are all basics. As you know, you'll watch this video, these are basic stuff I'm covering, but it's really to remind you, get the basics right. Don't overlook that. You know, it's very easy to get 10 steps ahead and think, oh, we've got to come up with the most genius content strategy and we've got to do tons of promotion and digital PR and get your ducks in a row is the key message. The other thing they had, which was they had an incorrect use of schema. So they were basically using schema incorrectly. So the way it had been set up, the way it was being, indexed, Google just it was set up, and it wasn't that it was erroring, it was more just that it wasn't being leveraged in the right way. I can't tell you exactly why and how, but we just basically sorted the schema out. So again, if you're a brand that wants your products to be featuring very prominently, are you using schema? How are you using schema? Are you using, best practice when it comes to deploying schema? Because there's often quick wins there. We had some things like there was some duplicate headings, basic on-page stuff where, multiple H1s that was causing issues that we cleaned up. Sometimes there were some duplicate products we also had to clean up. So there were some basics like that the team just in those first 6 weeks, we just cleaned it up. Let's just get everything sorted. So we did all that. What else do we do? Well, apart from that, we have created some content. We have worked with them because I say the content underpins every strategy we ever do. It's always about the content marketing. So over the last 6 months, and I'm looking at my screen because that's what they've sent me, this list of literally items. We've done this. So in the first 6 months, only been 6 months, we've upgraded 11 pieces of their content. Now, we love a content upgrade. In fact, I'll include a link to our content upgrades. We've got some great resources on our website. What we mean by a content upgrade is we're basically wanting to improve that content. So we take a piece of content that Google's sort of looking at. Google's going, okay, this is good. Often the characteristics are it's a piece that's been in the index for a while. It's maybe getting lots of impressions, relatively few clicks. Average position might be on page 2 or page 3 of Google. So it's Google kind of going, yeah, I've seen this piece of content. It's okay. I don't mind it. There's better than already in the results, so it's only good enough page 2. If we see potential and there's a business case of, well, if we can make that better, that would make a lot of sense for the brand because we could get them to rank that much more highly. If we could do that, we could, there's an opportunity there to increase the commerciality of that piece and make it just a better piece of content, more valuable for the brand. And so we did that. We have a process, we have a set of, we look at certain things we're looking for, and we've basically done that 11 times over the last 6 months. So we've managed to upgrade 11 pieces of content. And as part of that upgrade, we're often sometimes we're building out the content, sometimes we're reducing the content, making it cleaner, shorter, sweeter, more sort of informative, more punchy. Other times, another part of thing that we do with the upgrades is we often will increase the internal links, so make the internal linking just much better. So, okay, from here, let's make the stronger calls to action. Let's get people from this piece of content to the product, to the category, etc. So that's another real key characteristic. And then in addition to those 11 upgrades, we've provided briefs and worked with the client to create 6 additional pieces of content. So that's new pieces of content, new guides, new resources that have come online. I think most of them have come online now. There might be 1 or 2 that are still work in progress, but most of them have come online. They've gone onto the website, and those new pieces of content, they go, oh, this is great. And that's gone through a research process of the right types of content. Is there commerciality to it? Is there genuine value to be added in those pieces of content, etc.? So by creating half a dozen new pieces of content and then upgrading the best part of a dozen, that has seen an increase of alongside the fixed and technical things. There's kind of 3 elements. Fixing the technical stuff, getting our ducks in a row, nothing particularly revolutionary, just good old fashioned, roll your sleeves up, get stuck in, don't try and automate everything, and just don't rely on tools, but actually just look at the website with your own human eyes and just spend the time navigating it, understanding the user. It's so simple. So that's the first part. The second part was upgrading the existing content. Third part, creating some handful of new guides, literally only half a dozen. Those 3 things have enabled us to increase that visibility, the traffic by 118%, which is at a knock-on revenue increase of 41%. It's incredible. That's literally hundreds of thousands of pounds hitting that brand's bottom line in their first 6 months. And the beautiful thing about all of this stuff is it's like a snowball. SEO is like a snowball rolling down a mountain, right? The more it just builds speed, builds momentum, it just grows and grows and grows and just has this compounding effect. And it's just so flipping awesome. I love it. And there's one other thing that they have done, which, just to include as literally a final thing, which is really clever. They've started to work. They're working with a client to create some really, what I'm going to describe as immersive experiences within the product, right? So it's they're creating some very clever stuff on how they're making the product shoppable. That's all I'm going to tell you. But, and that's just, we're doing some very clever things, and we're having conversations with clients on how we can make the product more shoppable, how we can make the product stand out. And we're working with, and this is what, a good digital agency won't just look at it as what you've already got, but how can we make it better? How can we be more innovative? How can we have more fun? How can we be more creative with it? And that's, full credit to the team, because it's their ideas. And I just sort of sat back and was like, that's really cool. And stuff like that, so making the experience of shopping, right? The experience of buying the product more immersive, more engaging. I'm just going to dangle that carrot. I'm not going to tell you what we're doing, but it's really good fun, and I think that is really cool. So kudos to the team for doing that, and for the client for being on board with it, because good clients that really work with you are just the most fun. They're so good to work with, and that's it. So literally nothing that is that crazy. Nothing that you think, oh, this is revolution. No, just good old-fashioned digital marketing basics of just rolling your sleeves up, getting stuck in, getting the basics right, and having the expertise to understand the role that technical SEO plays, the role that content plays, the role. It's not always about new content, but it's about making what you've already got work 10 times harder. And then overlaying all of that with clear, strategic, commercial thinking and approach. That, my friends, is how we've been able to transform this online coffee shop in their first 6 months. Give us another 6 months, we'll do a year-on-year case study that we'll be putting on our website, which will just be, the figures will be amazing, and that is why we love doing what we do. So it's very possible to transform a brand within 6 months if you focus on the basics and you take a very logical approach to all this stuff. Hope you found something useful in this. And if you haven't already, do remember to like, review, and subscribe, and all of that good stuff. I'd be very, very grateful for any of that. And I will see you on the next one. All the best. Take care.